What's up, affordable Armory folks? How y'all doing? Today we're going to finish up the series on the Recover Tactical Brace for Glock pistols. If this is your first time here, go ahead and click that subscribe button so you'll know when future videos come out. Without further ado, let's head over to the workbench and we're going to talk about this as well as some other similar options. Alright, so here we are at the workbench. You can see I have three different options laid out on the table here. We've got the Glock 45 MOS in the Recover Tactical Brace, which we've been talking about. And again, I'm running a Holosun 508T red dot sight. And that's option number one. Option number two, this is the Micro Roni. And there are several different variations of this out there. I believe this is a Gen 3, maybe a Gen 4, I can't remember. And then there's also the MCK, which is a copy of the Micro Roni, and they have a Gen 1 and a Gen 2 of that. And then finally we have a Keltec Sub2000, which is actually a rifle in and of itself. So whereas this is a brace that you add on to your pistol, this is an accessory that you add on to your pistol, this is actually a rifle in and of itself. There are other options out there. You've got the Sig Sauer MPX, the Copperhead, and the K model specifically. You've got, if you're made of money, that's running like $1,500 to $2,000 for those guns. If you're really made of money, you know, go old school and get you an MP5. And then there's some more affordable options. You got the CZ Scorpion, runs, you know, $700 to $900. Maybe a little more depending on model. There's the Streebog, that's, I don't know, $500, no, $700, somewhere around there. Probably, I think $700, something like that. And then you've got AR9s, of course, which I don't have an AR9, so that's why I'm not comparing one here. If I did have one, that would be nice, but I don't. So regardless, the point of this is these are all options to extend the range of your 9mm. I think that is the ultimate goal of these. If you're to ask, why would you want any of these things? It's for me, it's to extend the range and capabilities of a 9mm. Whether that's taking a pistol and bracing it, or actually turning it into a rifle, such as the Kel-Tec here, or for example, an AR9. So let's start with price. I talked about this already, but the Recover Tactical Brace here starts at $99, and then for another $50 to put you at $149 plus tax and shipping. You get a holster and I think the sling and some other stuff. So $150 and you can kit that out. Now this is dependent on you already having a Glock, and I would specifically say you already have two Glocks, because to me, the purpose of these, which I'll get into in a little bit, is you already have a gun on your hip and you have something like this in a backpack. So we'll get into that here in a little bit. But $150, or if you just want the brace, $99. It's the cheapest option, that's for sure. The Ronis, they're going to run you more like $350 to $400. The MCKs start at $250. And again, if you buy the MCK or the Roni, keep in mind that you're still going to have to add iron sights. That's an additional cost. So add, I don't know, $60 to $100 depending on options. You're still going to have to add a red dot. So there's another $100, $150, $200 depending on what you go with. The thumb stops here, those were an additional cost. The flashlight on the front here, that was an additional cost. But at a minimum, sights. You're going to have to add sights to this thing. So you can probably do without the flashlight if you want. And maybe even without the thumb ramps. I like the thumb ramps. So, but you're talking starting at $250 for just the accessory, and then being able to shoot with it, you need sights. So add on another $100 for that at a minimum. Talking $350 in addition to having the pistol itself. Now from there, you've got the Keltec Sub2000 here, which is Pretty cool gun. As you can see, it folds in half. I'm going to say these go the low 300s to around 400. $399 would be like max out price for one of these. I don't think I would pay more for one. I've seen them definitely in the 320 range, usually more like 350 or 360. You can find deals on these guns for sure, and I recommend it. I have done videos on this in the past. I like this gun, and anyway, we'll move on. There's your price and affordability comparison. Capacity, not really relevant. This one is Glock 19. This one is a Glock 19. This one is a Glock 17. So Glock 45, it's a 17 frame. So there's your capacity, but they will all take Glock 17 magazines, so capacity is pretty much irrelevant. And for the purpose of these, I would also probably have a stick mag handy, so 33 round capacity. So since they all use Glock magazines, capacity is sort of irrelevant. They all have the same capacity potential. Now your Streetbogs and your Scorpions and all those other ones that I mentioned earlier, they have proprietary magazines, so keep that in mind. One advantage of these over those is they do take Glock magazines. So again, if you have a Glock as your carry gun and then you have this in a backpack, they can use the same magazines. Now keep in mind, if you get the MCK, they make them for Sig Sauer P320 and M&P series guns as well. So you could do the same concept with the MCKs. And the Kel-Tec as well, they're a little bit harder to find, but they do make an M&P model. Multi-mag, I believe, is the model name, and it will take M&P mags, I think 6 hour mags, Beretta 92 mags, so various models of this gun as well. So if you wanted to pair this with not necessarily a Glock, you could. That potential is there. Whereas this right here is made specifically for a Glock. Accuracy. So I'll just go ahead and talk you through this real quick. I went to the range and did some shooting. I took the Glock 19 and shot it by itself, not in the Roni. That was my baseline. So again, assuming you are carrying a Glock pistol, right? The goal of these being to extend the range of your pistol. I then shot the Kel-Tec at 25 yards. And the difference with this one and the others is that it does not have a red dot. There are ways to mount a red dot to this, but mine does not have one. That's for a whole nother video on Kel-Tec accessories, which I may do in the future. After that, I shot the Micro Roni, and again, all of these at 25 yards. And then I shot the Recover Tactical Brace at 25 yards. 10 rounds each, so a total of 40 rounds. So with that being said, I'll roll the footage and you can see the results. Okay, so here are the results. This is the Glock by itself, 25 yards. You can see I've got a couple of flyers up here, I've got one flyer over here, and then the main part of the group right in there. So not terrible. I mean, it demonstrates that you can hit a target at 25 yards with just the pistol itself. Interesting though, here is the Keltec Sub2000 with no red dot, just iron sights, and you got a couple in the bullseye, well, not in the X, but in the 10 ring. You got one touching, one in the 9, one in the 8, one in the 7, and then one that is basically a flyer. And this is actually probably the best group, to be honest. Now that may be a result of it being a rifle. It's a little bit more stable, but I was surprised. I thought maybe the red dot would have the advantage, and I honestly thought that the Roni was going to have the best group, but we'll get into that here in just a second. Here is the Roni group, and you've got one there, a couple there, one down there, and the rest right around here. That's pretty spread out, honestly. That's they're all in the target though, so that's good. So it's a slight improvement over the Glock by itself. You know, I had the couple of flyers that were up and to the left on the Glock group. These are actually all in the target somewhere, so that is an improvement, but it's not as tight a group as the Kel-Tec group was. That kind of surprised me. Now if we move over here, this is the group from the Recover Tactical, and I'll be honest with you, I dropped a couple low and one to the left there, which is probably me not gripping properly. That's pretty good. It is up and to the right. I honestly am thinking go back and re-zero that red dot. And I will say I switched it from I was using the circle with the dot, this sort of EOTech style reticle. I switched it to just the red dot. And so I think if I went back and re-zeroed that red dot with just the dot rather than with the EOTech style reticle, I think I could get that same group that you're seeing right there to move closer to the X. I really do. And I think that right there, even though it's up and to the right, is a satisfactory group. I'm going to call these two flyers. I'm going to call that a flyer, and I'm going to call this my main group, and that is awesome. So surprise, surprise, the Recover Tactical did better than the Roni, but not as good as the Kel-Tec, and absolutely did better than the Glock by itself, hands down. So did our Recover Tactical Brace do what it was supposed to? You betcha it did. I think I just proved it right there. At 25 yards, this shot better than it did with just the pistol at 25 yards. Period. All three of them actually did. Surprisingly though, the Kel-Tec was the best. That was really a shocker to me. I was not expecting that. But there you go. Moving on to reliability. Absolutely, this thing has been 100% reliable. This is my 4th video on it now. You've seen me shoot it quite a bit. I have not had any issues with it. This thing folds and unfolds. It's not showing any signs of wanting to break. I mean, I think that right there would be your major wear point from folding it multiple times. And I've folded this thing hundreds of times, not a single issue. I don't feel like it's gonna break. It doesn't feel like it's gonna wobble or anything. So there you go. That's reliability. Ergonomics and feel. Okay, so ergonomically, this thing, you know, I do like the way this is placed right here. I can get my hand up there and it's not digging into this part of my hand, the web. It's not digging into it at all. I don't have one to verify this, but the flux defense brace, the one that shoots out rather than folds, it attaches by this pin, and so there's kind of this hump right there, and I just figure that that's going to be awkward when you put that in the web of your hand, and then there's a little hump, and then the rest of your palm sits on that. That just, to me, feels like it would be awkward. So good job on this. There is no problems right there as far as ergonomics. The brace itself, it's kind of thin. Now, if you rewind a little bit and watch the shooting footage, you'll see that I did in fact shoulder this. You guys have been commenting on my videos saying, why don't you shoulder it? Why don't you shoulder it? And I've been fighting back saying, well, because it's a brace, it's not technically a stock. It's not designed as a stock, blah, blah, blah. Oh, well, the ATF said. I know what the ATF said, guys. And I'm going to tell you right now, they did not say that it's okay to shoulder it. What they said was, if you accidentally put this into your shoulder and misuse it, it does not remake this into a stock. That is what they said. Okay, so they did not say that a brace can be shouldered. They said that shouldering a brace does not remake it into a stock. Just want to make that perfectly clear for you guys who keep commenting saying that, oh, the ATF said it was okay. No, that's not what they said. And yes, other channels are, you know, freely putting these in their shoulder, and I did put both of these, which are braces, in my shoulder when I shot because you guys begged me to do it, so I did it. But ergonomically, like I said, this is designed as a brace. It did fit in my shoulder. I don't know that I would want to shoot long term with it in my shoulder. As far as overall ergonomics, you know, you can access the controls very easily, so that's nice. I mean, with a red dot or with the little adapter, if you're only running irons, it's very easy to rack to slide, you know. I'd say they did a very good job on ergonomics. Real quick, before I move on to the purpose of each of these, a viewer commented and asked me about the length of this thing. So I'm going to measure it for you right now. We'll go from right there to front. Looks like about 18 inches. You know, 17 3/4, 18 inches, give or take. If you were using a Glock 17, it'd be a little bit longer. But from the back of the brace to just the front of the brace itself, you know, 17 3/4, 18 inches, roughly. Now, folded, because they did specify unfolded and folded. There you go, it's about 10 inches folded. Okay, so now we've arrived at the purpose of this thing right here. Why in the world would you buy one of these? Here I have a sling bag. This is from, I think, US Patriot Tactical. They sort of took the gray man concept literally. They made a gray bag. But this is a concealed carry bag. There's a pocket underneath here. You can stick a holster down in there if you want. There's another one on the back side here. Anyways, this isn't about the bag. The point is, you can take a bag like this. This one happens to be a sling style. So you could get a backpack. Maxpedition, Vertex, there's all sorts of companies out there that make bags for this purpose. But all of them will fit nicely right in here. And this one happens to have MOLLE, so you could get you some Velcro, and it's Velcro covered too. So you could get you some Velcro tape and put that over the top of it to secure it in place, or you could put MOLLE accessories in there, you know, for your spare magazines, stuff like that. There's pockets for whatever. Anyway, like I said, the purpose of it would be your backpack gun. And then in the other pockets, you would put stuff like, I don't know, an IFAK would fit nicely probably in here. Basically, you would build this into a kind of a go-to-war kit, like a, oh crap, I'm about to be in a serious doo-doo kind of kit. And my carry gun is not going to be enough. Now, you might prefer a rifle, but in some cases, you know, certain states don't allow you to carry a rifle in your vehicle, or maybe they do, but it can't be loaded or whatever. Various laws in various states. Most states, I believe, if you have your concealed carry permit, you can carry a loaded pistol in your car. Which these two would qualify as. The Kel-Tec would not, so you would have to carry this unloaded in your vehicle. That's kind of the downside there. But anyway, all of these would fit in this bag, and you would have a bag that you could go to up your ante a little bit. Let's say that. Okay, so we've talked about this thing quite a bit. I've shot it. I've compared it to other options on the market now, and I'm trying to form a final opinion. Would I buy this thing again? Yes. Yes, I would, and I'll tell you why. Because I have the capability to do that. If you only have one Glock, then don't buy this for your Glock. You need another Glock first, period. Because this is not going on my hip. Even though you can holster this, this is never going to be my carry setup. So this is to support my carry setup. Like I said, it's going in a backpack style bag, you know, sling bag, whatever. And it's going to stay there with a spare magazine. And the purpose of it is, again, to extend the range of my 9mm. So yes, I would buy this again. And the reason being, it's cheaper than the Roni or the MCK. It's definitely cheaper than buying another gun, such as the ones I mentioned earlier, the Scorpion, the MPK, all those stuff. However, you do have to have another Glock. And in my case, I do have a second Glock, so it's in here now, and it's probably going to stay that way. I may swap the red dot to a different one at some point, but for now, this is how it's going to stay set up, and I like it. I'll probably put the other rail back on there because I'm not going to use the holster. But aside from that, I like it. Oh, I also took the sling off. There's the ring, but I just took the sling off because it was in the way. So yes, I would buy this thing again. It's cheaper than a lot of the competitors out there. Overall, yes, I would buy this thing again because I already have another Glock. If you don't have two Glocks, don't buy it. Don't put this on a Glock and then not have another Glock to carry. It's a support system. We're building on our carry system, and this is an addition to that. So we've extended the range. I've proven that this does, in fact, improve your accuracy at a distance, and it shot better than the pistol itself. It shot, in my opinion, better than the Roni. It did not shoot better than a 9mm rifle. So there you go. Would I buy it again? Yes, and I just told you why. So there you have it. That's all I have to say about the Recover Tactical Glock Brace. Go buy you one if you have another Glock already. So, thanks for watching, guys. If this is your first time here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button for me so you'll find out when future videos come out. As always, head over to affordable-armory.com. We've got a couple things there. The blog is there. We have our merch there, so you can pick yourself up a hat to help support the channel, or we've got t-shirts and mugs and stuff like that. All of our social media links are there, as well as all of our affiliate links, which also help support the channel and save you money on something you were going to buy anyway. So thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.